Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to this channel right now. As I explained in the segment prior to this one, John Roberts, the Supreme Court, gave Trump a huge victory. You will hear congressional testimony discussing pretty much the end of USAID, or at least 90% of USAID. So hit subscribe. In a couple of seconds, you will hear congressional testimony headed by Marjorie Taylor Greene. You'll also hear the White House press secretary talking about USAID. Really quickly, we'll have live streams later today, so stay tuned. Associated Press, Trump administration say it's cutting 90% of USAID foreign contracts. Really quickly, I touched upon this in the last segment, but the Department of Justice sent the Supreme Court the following. The federal government has sovereign immunity over this type of breach of contract claim. Congress has created an intricate statutory scheme, along with a court with jurisdiction, to address claims that the government owes money under its contracts and other funding instruments. This scheme precludes the district court's attempt to remedy alleged breaches of contract under the guise of a temporary restraining order. The district court sidestepped those arguments. So the initial attempt by lower courts to force the Trump administration to fund USAID contracts not only is unconstitutional, it circumvents the mechanisms or the schemes or the protocol or the bureaucracy that Congress created to address any grievances. So there's a major Supreme Court case that Trump just won a huge victory, initial victory on, okay? This is regarding the expenditures and the payments allegedly or apparently owed to people through USAID and other departments within the executive branch that Trump runs under Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution. But you don't go to the Supreme Court. There are already bureaucratic or statutory schemes, intricate. Congress has created an intricate statutory scheme according to the Department of Justice. So a lot of these organizations, especially potentially the ones suing the Trump administration, want the money quickly. They want to go to the Supreme Court. They want the Supreme Court to rule that Trump and Musk and Doge have no right to stop billions of dollars in potential fraud, potential waste, and contracts that were signed under the Biden administration or previous administrations. The problem is that you can't just simply go to the Supreme Court. Congress, like the Department of Justice stated, already has an intricate statutory scheme. There's already protocol. There's already an avenue or a bureaucracy in place to address any grievances pertaining to contracts. That's huge, ladies and gentlemen. That's something that nobody's talking about. Okay, and the Supreme Court will side with Trump. I'm like when it comes to Supreme Court victories, predicting Supreme Court victories. I have predicted pretty much every single one. The Colorado ban being overturned, the immunity victory Trump gained. I said the Colorado ban would be unanimous victory for Trump. So anyway, this is going to be a huge victory for Trump. The State Department runs the USAID, both of which are within the executive branch. Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution states that the president runs the executive branch. It's right there. And now you have Congress, like I explained this in the last segment, already giving people or NGOs or political or NGOs or whatever departments within USAID the ability to air any grievances without going to the Supreme Court. Trump administration cutting 90% of USAID contracts. Let's get to why. Hit subscribe to this channel. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene running a very, very interesting and breathtaking congressional testimony or hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Roman. I now recognize Tyler O'Neill for his opening statement.
Chairwoman Greene, members of the subcommittee, the last few weeks have featured revelation after revelation of how our tax dollars have been spent propping up radical left-wing causes across the world. Yet what struck me about the abuse of foreign aid has been the connections with leftist activists here at home. As a senior editor at the Daily Signal, I researched the left's dark money network, which propped up the influence campaign I expose in my book, The Woktopus. I found that leftist elites prop up NGOs that staffed and advised the Biden administration, pushing unpopular policies on the American people through the bureaucracy. In my remarks, I will.
So this is what was referred to 100 plus years ago as honest graft. There's, I believe the book is called The Plunket of Tammany Hall. It was a Democratic Party high-ranking official in New York City in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And he wrote about honest graft, how Democrats and Republicans as well, but never Trump Republicans, let's put it that way, primarily, but how Democrats utilize the legal system. They do it legally, okay, which in many, it's potential fraud, almost certain waste, but in many ways they do it legally. Legal graft. They funnel money through non-governmental organizations that are funded by departments like USAID through your tax dollars, and not one person in America knows what's going on. Because Congress doesn't give the money to the specific non-governmental organization that backs the Democratic Party. Congress gives the money to USAID. Then USAID takes it and runs with it and then funnels the money into a network that helps the Democratic Party, a Byzantine endless labyrinth. This isn't rocket science, nor is it conspiratorial. This is exactly what Democrats do, oftentimes legally, and potentially sometimes illegally.
Will present 3 examples of how the left's dark money network intersects with just one agency focused on foreign aid, the U.S. Agency for International Development. The views I will express in this testimony are my own. The left's dark money network features George Soros and his Open Society Foundations, the Tides Foundation, and the network of nonprofits established by Arabella Advisors. Right here. These groups, which you can see on this chart, funnel cash to DEI, transgender, and climate alarmist causes, divisive issues that the Biden administration prioritized over addressing the concrete needs of the American people. The left's dark money network has deep ties to USAID, which has rightly received renewed scrutiny under DOGE and after Elon Musk shined a light on it.
So when Democrats and wonderful, morally superior liberals say, oh, but so much good takes place, and Musk and Trump are removing millions and billions of dollars from helping people on the ground. Well, that could be the case in some instances, but you shouldn't have bundled actual humanitarian causes with left-leaning fringe ideologies, trying to pump these ideologies throughout the world. You shouldn't have bundled that together. That's the problem. That's why the Democratic Party, or wonderful, morally superior liberals, potentially are perhaps immoral or unethical or very devious and deceitful in the type of behavior they engage in. Yeah, USAID does some good things. USAID helps feed people. That's true. But the money is also bundled with far-left fringe ideologies, trying to promote these ideologies throughout the world that have zero to do with U.S. national security. And that's the point. That's the point. If you bemoan Trump and Musk and Doge, and you say, why is this happening? Well, look at all the good that's being done by USAID. Yeah, you shouldn't have combined the expenditures with a brazen effort to foment these ideologies that have nothing to do with U.S. national security. $20 million for Sesame Street in Iraq does absolutely nothing for U.S. national security. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Huge Supreme Court victory. Be here for the live stream tonight. Thank you.